Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's meeting. I would like to open the meeting at 4 o'clock. So I declare the meeting officially open. I'd like to start today with an opening prayer, reflection, or karakia, which I'm going to hand over to Brendan.
All right, I'll give my best Māori world. Mā te whakapono, mā te tūmanako, mā te titiro, mā te whakarongo, mā te mahi tahi, mā te manawa nui, mā te aroha, ka te a te tau.
Thank you, Brendan. Okay, we have no apologies before the meeting today. Public forum, we don't have any public forum items on the agenda. No requests have been received. Moving on to late items, Deputy Mayor has advised that she would request a late item for the discretionary fund to be accepted for consideration. Do you want to speak to that?
I speak to it now, Claire, or
just if you don't accept it to be discussed.
Okay, so I need to move that. I'd like to someone to move, or do I move? Deputy Mayor, could you explain why we have a late item on the agenda, please?
the Christmas market, I'm sure you've all been to. That's held at the Island Reserve on the first Sunday of December. They never ask for funding. They give away anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 to the community. And this year I've been made aware that they're actually running quite tight. So I thought that we could have a discussion in our discretionary fund section, and maybe we might like to give them some funds towards running of the event. Now, a mover and a seconder, do I, or Madam Chair?
So I would like to call for someone to move that this be accepted.
I'll move.
And a seconder.
I'll second it.
All in favour?
Right.
Against? Carried. Okay. Right, moving on. Okay. So do we have any declarations of conflict of interest for items on the agenda for today?
Through you, Madam Chair, I would, it's just declare that I am close friends with one of the ladies in the committee for the Christmas market. Obviously, I'm not benefiting from it, but I just thought I would just declare it. I will still participate. I just wanted to be open about that.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
So I call for someone to move that we accept that declaration of interest.
I'll move that.
And a seconder.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in agreement? Any against? Carried.
Through you, Chair, excuse me, can we just be clear what Deputy Mayor Christensen plans to do about the conflict? It's okay to declare the conflict, but in actual fact, oh, you did say you'd participate.
Yeah, I must be. Yeah. I got the monetary one. Sorry.
Cool. All right. Thank you. All right. The next item on the agenda for today is a confirmation of minutes from our meeting on the 4th of November 2025. Matters arising. Do we have any corrections, errors, or omissions that anyone would like to note? No? Well, in that case, then I would like to call for. Okay, I'd like to call for someone to move that these minutes from the 4th of November be accepted. Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and a seconder.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Craig. All those for? Right, against? Carried. Thank you. Okay, so item 6 on the agenda for today is decision reports, the adoption of the Ōtorohanga Community Board meeting schedule. So I take it that everyone has read the meeting schedule that's been proposed by staff for the 2026, 27 and 28 training. I would love you to speak to that, Kaya. Thank you.
So the board are required to hold meetings in accordance with legislation to ensure openness and public accessibility. The staff recommendation is to approve the dates for the triennium instead of just 1 year, to provide certainty for staff, elected members and the community regarding those dates and to facilitate timely public notification. However, the February dates in the report are incorrect and are 1 day earlier than those recommended by staff. Any resolution needs to take this into account.
Thank you, Kaya. So that being said, the 3rd of February 2026, you're saying will be the 2nd, and 2027 will be the 1st, and 2028 will be the 7th of February. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I would like to call for someone to move that the proposed meeting schedule be accepted.
I'll move that.
Nice.
Yes. And seconder? Deputy Mayor. All those in favour? Any against? Carried. Okay, so moving on, the information only reports. We have no reports today. Board member updates.
Through you, Madam Chair, this is an opportunity for board members to talk about any community events that they've attended as a board member and to provide feedback and information for the entire board.
Thank you, Kaya. Okay, do we have any board member updates?
Through you, Madam Chair, I just thought it's obviously from my position on council, but that I sit on Elevate and we are putting expressions of interest out to for security camera installation, like no costs or anything like that. It's just expressions of interest. We've scoped out with the police and ComSafe where the best locations around town are. At all our entry points. So I just thought that might be of interest to the community board. And if you can, like next time Elevate has a business breakfast, it's really good to go to get to network with your community.
Great. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any updates from anybody else? No? Okay then. Taylor.
Hello. On Friday last week, I attended the Young Elected Members Hui in Wellington. So I sat amongst people who were under the age of 40 and either newly elected or re-elected members into council and community boards. This was very interesting and really cool to connect with people who are sort of on the same walk of life as I am, and just sort of picking their brains on how they're connecting with their communities and things. I think I was part of one of the smallest districts there, and around my table I was sat with lots of so Upper Hutt, Lower Hutt, Methven, Ashburton, different representatives. So yeah, it was really cool just to see what's happening in different necks of the woods.
Great. Thank you, Taylor. Do we have any other updates from board members? No? Do we need to accept that? No, okay, cool. All right. Moving on to board projects. So this, I believe, is a discussion with amongst members as to projects that we would like to add to. Do we have a list of board projects that we follow? Is that how this works?
I can, through you, Chair, it's just an opportunity really to discuss maybe what you're thinking for the training. There's nothing, you don't have to have anything today ready.
Okay.
So in the past, we have had previous boards sort of outline their projects they want to achieve for that 3 years. So today is probably more of just a conversation starter, and maybe at the next board meeting we can start considering what your sort of goals are. Yeah, but it's more of a line in the agenda at this stage. Yeah.
Thank you. So this would probably be a really good opportunity for us then, as a relatively new group of people, with the exception of Deputy Mayor, as to any projects anyone may have already thought of that we could potentially have a discussion over. Brendan.
I've been approached by a couple of young women in town, asking us to consider, is it possible to add the one sunshade on the council playground, the south end of town. There's one there, there's plenty of trees, but she said, or they said, is it possible to look into scoping? There's a possibility of, it's quite a big, well-used area. Is there an opportunity to put up a secondary shade sail there, sunshade or sunshade, I think they're called.
Can you just
So-
confirm which playground?
Well, not,
Main one, Kiwiana one?
yeah, right, that south end, yeah.
Can I add to that? Is that okay?
Absolutely. Yep.
The Jimbaka playground, Kiwiana playground, also doesn't have a changing table for babies. Just
Okay.
so, yeah, so I thought maybe that could come into some sort of discussion as well, being a frequently used playground by people with young children as well as babies who are probably toddling along with. It would be handy to have in there.
Great idea.
So can I talk to that? So just if I could talk to that, Madam Chair. So the playground sunshade, we're about to go into an annual plan discussion. So that would be something that the board could put forward rather than making it a board project, because that's something that can be done by staff if budgets are approved. So that's definitely something that can move forward. A changing table, I think that's an operational discussion that we can have with the facilities team, and that would probably come out of existing budgets. I can't imagine those being that expensive. I might be stand corrected one day, but if that helps. So two great ideas and probably two different ways of dealing with it. So if you would like to leave those with me, I can put some wheels in motion on it and then advise the board on how best to make maybe a submission to the annual plan on the sunshade, if that's something you want to proceed. I see Tanya's looking at me.
Yeah, thank you. Through you, Chair. I just thought maybe for the board, the next session might be useful to have a bit of a workshop on the projects area and give you some information on how we fund certain things. So, Mark's just great, outlined two taken those two projects and given you two different ways that they could be funded. And I sort of think it might be useful for you to all understand how we actually fund things, what is in the operational budgets, because we don't have endless operational budgets, what needs to come through an annual plan and get council approval. There's board discretionary funds, there's board reserves, all the different funding streams that are kind of available should the board come up with ideas for projects or little improvements, like the changing table might be useful. So you've got a bit of a grounding, there.
Thank you. I guess for the purpose of today's meeting, it would be useful though to have these discussions, just so that we can then obviously get guidance from those that do know, and also for us as newbies to sort of get a bit of direction as well, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I do really like the idea of what you've just suggested though. I think that'd be hugely helpful. Leanne, did you have any thoughts? Not at the stage. Okay. Brendan, did you have anything else that you? No. Taylor, did you have any other comments or thoughts or suggestions?
I have heard of something, but I'm not sure if this is the right forum to ask. So I don't know whether I should just ask and see if it can get directed to a different discussion. Yes, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know how much involvement the council has or the community boards have with the different churches in the district, but I have heard that the one of the local churches is very low on parchment, and they are sort of in discussions about what would happen to the building if it doesn't sorry, hang on. I think they're a bit nervous that the congregation might be on the trail out and might be getting a bit dissolved because they have a lack of people going to the church. So I don't know if that's a discussion for this, or if we just need to go and talk to the churches, or if that's something I need to dig deeper on.
I would just say thanks, Taylor. I think the mayor might be having a meeting with someone. So yeah, we'll just leave it there.
Yeah, cool.
Agreed.
Great.
Thank you, Taylor. Did you have any other sort of project thoughts or? Thank you. Deputy Mayor, I'll get my pen at the ready.
No, not at all. No, just because Mark has solved the problems with the other things being operational, maybe. There's been a few comments and one today. Our dog signs in town are only yay big. If you're not from this area, you have no idea that dogs aren't allowed on our main street during the daytime. So I'm wondering if we can get some, our signs are great if they were bigger. Yeah, there's dogs on our main street every day now. Today there was two, one was on a lead and one was not. Yeah, so bigger signs, and I know that's probably more operational, but.
I have a question to that. Who polices that? Like who? Yeah, you're not allowed dogs in the main street, but you never see anyone telling anyone you're not allowed a dog there. So who actually does that?
Through you, Chair, it's a really good question. We don't have an enforcement in council of someone going around doing those actual, bit like parking. But obviously those complaints can be made to council that we can follow up through our regulatory team. But there's no one actually physically walking around policing that. Yeah, unfortunately.
Through you, Madam Chair, so I've used it in the past if I've seen a dog that I don't think should be in town. I let council know, and luckily enough, our enforcement officer, dog control man was around and just had a quiet word. So it's about, like Mark said, we don't have someone out there policing, but we do have council to ring, and if they can approach it, then and there they will.
Do you have any other suggestions, Deputy Mayor? No? Okay. Craig,
Stage.
what stage? I'm not sure if this is the right place or not, but I had was hoping, I'm not sure if this comes under a board project or not, but I think that it would be really useful for the community board as part of a really embracing obviously the new community board going forward. I would like to look at doing sort of social media for us in terms of Facebook and possibly Instagram as a way of being able to educate and connect and communicate with our communities as to what we're doing and how it's being done and how it's being funded in a very carefully managed way. I wouldn't expect any staff resources to be needed for this. I think it could be easily managed within the community board itself. I understand there would be some social media requirements which council I have no doubt have got in place, but I'm not sure if this is the place for this or not, but I thought I would raise it. I think it would be a really great way for us to connect with the community and give them an opportunity to understand what the colours mean for the lights that are in the main street and what they represent and why they change and how it's not funded from their rates and you know, things like if the new shade sale is put up, you know, things like that, which is actually quite a cool thing for families. Same with the change table idea that Taylor had. It would be a really good way to connect with communities and let them know what we're doing. And as I said, very carefully manage those so that sort of the negative element, which you can sometimes have with council related things, is carefully kept under control. I think it would be a really good way to put a positive spin on a lot of the things that has already been done by previous community boards and also going forward as well. And it could also be a vehicle as well for some of the things that the council are doing. It could sort of potentially flow through that as well if it was appropriate. So I'm not sure if the board projects is the right place for that. Is that something that
Through you, Madam Chair, I mean, you've planted the seed of thought there, and maybe that's something that the board can come back to or have a discussion about, maybe even with our comms people, just to see how that might align, because it may seem like a great idea. It might turn out to be a bit of a nightmare for you too. But yeah, maybe take that to a bigger discussion and with maybe some staff to sort of advice on that, because potentially we would be running out some comms about some things, and then you might be running out some comms separately, and just how that would sort of line up.
sure?
But yeah, definitely something worth discussing further, I think.
Just as also in response to that, just for some sort of wider knowledge, I've done PR and media training through New Zealand Red Cross when I worked for them. And I've also been part of the Ōtorohanga Charitable Trust with our Facebook group as well. And I also run the Facebook page for our workshop. So I sort of completely understand where you're coming from. And I think it should be very carefully managed, but I do think it would have a lot of very positive outcomes for both council and the community board if we did do something like this. I'd certainly appreciate your comments though, so that's just my thinking on it. The other question I was going to ask in terms of board projects, and I'm not sure if this is something that's already in the pipeline, but I was wondering about the possibility of us considering, and I'm not sure if this sits with community board or council, I would really like to see us extend the walkway that we have here from the bridge. So where the Kiwiana playground is, the bridge that's there, extend the walkway from there all the way out to where the pony club is at the moment on Ōtorohanga Road. I thought it would be an interesting possibility that we could connect the walkway all the way along there. Just thought.
Yeah, I think so. It's going to, test my memory here a bit. It's either sitting in a reserve management strategy or or it's sitting in the town concept plan, or both. One of the early suggestions when we retired that stock bank on the Ōtorohanga Road was also to extend the pathway on top of that to reconnect back into Ōtorohanga Road. So there's definitely some groundwork done on that already, and maybe that's another discussion that we can have too, just to see how that aligns out to the pony club. So and that might be one of the things that the board decides, is to pick up an existing blueprint or existing project and say, right, let's drive that project for the next 3 years, because there's numerous projects sitting there that are going to require a lot of staff hours to get moving, or community-led projects. So that's, you know, that's probably a really good opportunity to grab one of those and say, well, let's make that our project for the next couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Has anybody got any other suggestions or ideas?
Ron, I think it's a bad idea about extending that stock bank walkway very well utilised and positive. Just makes us and the council good. Everyone loves it.
They really
Very
do.
minimal negative comment about that. If we, okay, it's always the aspect, oh, as long as our rates don't go up too much. But if we can present a coordinated approach, saying, as far as budget allows, our plan is to extend to provide a more positive experience for the community. I think it's great. But I think we should go down that path.
Mind the pun.
Literally go along that path.
Thanks, Brenda. I'm not sure if this next comment sits under the board projects or not, but I did wonder whether we as a community board should go for a walk around town and actually familiarise ourselves with everything as a group, and just see what's what and what looks good and what maybe might need some upgrades or attention. Deputy Mayor, did you have any thoughts on that?
I think it's a fantastic idea. And then if we see something that I would consider maybe a service request, I can teach you all how to use Nintendo. Rather than bring a long list back that might not be, you know, appropriate, like we can log it as a service request.
Thoughts?
We're going around the entire village. I'd rather jump in a vehicle and walk the highway.
Sorry, what's that? You want to drive, did you say?
Yeah, if we're going around the entire village. I'd rather jump in my vehicle and we can drive around them rather than walking. I think my knee would give out by then.
Okay. Is there any sort of feeling towards doing this today, or did you want to do this on a different date?
I think maybe because of especially Brendan's knee, maybe we break it up. No, like break it up. Like you wouldn't want to drive the main street while we walk. So, you know, like because you see stuff on the main street. It's amazing what you can see when you're looking for it. And then yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you want to break it up.
Delegation to me,
Yeah.
Brendan. That sounds like delegation.
I'm up for anything.
Should we do the main
Okay,
street
right.
today and then make a plan for our next meeting in February to do another section? Would that suit? Yeah, okay, cool. We don't have to.
No.
Okay, perfect.
It's
Okay, so if we don't have any other suggestions on board projects, I'd like to move along to a discussion on the Ōtorohanga General Reserve Fund. The fund had the balance of $131,149 as of the 30th of June. The previous community board committed a total of $95,000 to two projects. Following this balance is detailed below, one being the Ōtorohanga Fitness Trail and the other being the dog agility course, which we've heard quite a bit about already, which is great. Both of these projects has gone to council to make a decision on, and the amount that's been committed from the community board is $95,000, which will leave us a balance of $36,149 as it stands at the moment, if there's no amendments or changes to that. I'm guessing we don't. Yeah. The Ōtorohanga Property Reserve Fund is a balance.
Sorry, you, Madam Chair. I just thought, maybe, I'm not sure if the rest of the board knows, but the previous working committee for the dog agility is actually going to try and get some sponsorships. So all of that money that was committed for it might possibly not be spent.
Okay. Cool. So moving along to the Property Reserve Fund, the fund has a balance as of the 30th of June of 1.4 million, 100 and, no, it doesn't. Anyway, 1.4 million as of the 30th of June 2025. Leaving the discretionary fund has a balance of $9,144. So from what I understand, is there's 3 funds as such which the community board has access to or can draw from, one being the general reserve, second being the property reserve, and the third being the discretionary. And my understanding is with the discretionary fund is that each year on the 1st of July, we are allocated $5,000 from council to spend in that 12-month period. And there has been a change recently in the last year or two where now if we don't spend all of that money, it will roll over into the following year. Hence why there's 9,144 and sitting in the discretionary fund as of today's date. Am I correct in that? No.
Yeah, I think through you, Madam Chair, so they did roll that over this year. I don't know if it'll get rolled over again. I don't think it's a continual rollover. It's not a fund to build. So I think it would be advised to spend that this. Yes, would be my advice.
Thank you, Mark. So basically we can go out and spend money. Yeah, I like the idea of that. Shades out here. So just before we move on, I just wanted to have a quick discussion with fellow members just to make sure that we all understand what the General Reserve Fund and the Property Reserve Fund, what they are and how they work. Does anyone have any questions regarding those? Or are you comfortable with your understanding of what they are? Yes, okay, excellent. Taylor?
But they don't renew themselves. I'm just going to speak anyway. Sorry, through you, Madam Chair. I'm just, in case no one wanted to ask, they don't renew themselves. That is what is there. Once it's gone, it's gone. Yeah, in the past, community boards have used interest off the property one, not funds. Yeah, that's just my little take. And to be fair, if we had 4,000 left in our discretionary, we could ask for it to be rolled over. There's no given that it wouldn't be.
And just one more comment there. There is a little bit more. I suppose the general reserve's probably a little bit more relaxed on what that can be spent on, but I think the intent of the property reserve fund was more around more investment into something like property, something that's tangible rather than discretionary spend. Yeah.
My understanding was that the property fund was more capital expenditure versus, okay. Lovely, thank you, Mark. And thank you, Deputy Mayor, not Chair, sorry. Okay, right, moving on. Now we need to have a discussion on requests for funding. This is based on the late item that we have accepted that Deputy Mayor is going to speak to.
Yeah. So I was just, I'm proposing that we actually give the Christmas market, the fundraising chicks some money to go towards their event. They, obviously they do it to raise money so that they can give it out. This year they're running on a really tight budget. I mean, they can make it work. So if everyone decides no, it won't be the end of the world. But I just thought in the past maybe to give you some insight. In the past, we've given 3,500 to the Christmas parade, 1,000 to the blue light bus hire that takes the kids to Rainbow's End. We gave the 100-year railway celebration 3,000. Last year we gave the support house $700 at Christmas, $1,000 to the Kiwi House, and 260.87 to Group Day. So I was sort of thinking that maybe we could just pay their advertising costs, which would be about $850, $565 to Waikato Times, and King Country News was $232. I mean, we can get the invoices. I haven't got them, but yeah, that is what I would suggest, but totally open for any other thoughts around the table.
Can we just clarify the name of who is applying for a grant?
Waikato Fundraising Chicks.
Any comments, questions, feedback from anybody? Nothing, Taylor?
This year, Katrina, do you know who they are fundraising for? Because I know that they.
So, again, it is the St. John's Cadets, I think, totally this year. Last year, they gave 1,000 to the Toy Library, 300 to St. John's Cadets, and 300 to something else, and I can't remember what it was.
Cool.
I mean, yeah, this year they've got a pretty amazing lineup of musicians. So it's almost like it's a Christmas market. You can shop there, but you can also go there and have a picnic and listen to artists all day. They're coming from far and wide, and they're not actually taking payment. They're doing it for free. And you've got, so we've got they have local artists and out of town artists coming in. So to me, it's almost like a mini Christmas in the park.
Can you just, how do we spell chicks? Is it the traditional way or is it associated? Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so we don't have any, do we want to have discussion? Are we in support of this or?
I support it. That's
Okay.
a great idea.
Brendan?
Yeah, I support it. I think it's great.
All right then. So, okay, Deputy.
Sorry, through you, Chair. I would also say that a part of it, we would suggest to them that actually they apply for funding next year through the avenues that are available, like that Ōtorohanga Community Grant.
Also, just for transparency, I actually also called Liz from Waikato Fundraising Chicks today to have a bit of an exploratory discussion with her, simply because it was time dependent, to just find out a little bit more information, because I wasn't overly familiar with this group. One of the suggestions that I've also made to Liz as part of this fundraising team is to also approach the Ōtorohanga Charitable Trust and pass along the details for Kama Ingham, who is the chair, to see if they would also be able to potentially get some fundraising for, if not this year, but next year as well, to help them in terms of what they're trying to create for this community. So I just thought I would make mention that. So if we're all in favour of this, then I would like to call that, so like the Ōtorohanga Community Board grant $850 for the Waikato fundraising checks.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, is that inclusive or exclusive of GST?
Deputy Mayor.
I would just say we'll do 850 inclusive.
Good idea. Okay, so I would like to say that the Ōtorohanga Community Board grant $850, including GST, to the Waikato fundraising checks for the Christmas markets. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you very much. Right, moving on now to the resolution register, which I'm not, okay. Let's say that I seconded that. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Right, so moving on to the resolution register, and I would like to call Mark to speak to the register. You're welcome.
Just find place. We ended up with lots of bits of paper up here for some reason. So the first one on the list there is one that was probably a bit of a discussion tonight when I came into the meeting, was the connectivity trail, and a recommendation from the previous board for this board to continue to look at that project, or to relook at that project. So I did a bit of quick searching because the name didn't resonate with me originally, but it is in the reserve strategy, and it's the Ōtorohanga exercise circuit from there. So whether it needs to stay on there, I think we'll bring in the next board meeting, we'll probably look to take that out, because I think that's one of the sort of projects you could pick up as part of the early discussion, but I don't think it needs to stay there, but we'll just need to do it on the next board meeting. Okay. Yep. Item 01 is to be removed. That's the adoption of the voting system. No, I'll just go through the list and then we just move it on the recommendation at the bottom. So item 202 is to remove the appointment or resolution to appoint the chairperson. Item 03 is to be removed, which is the appointment of the deputy chairperson, and item 04 is to be removed, which is the confirmation of the first meeting. So the recommendation is for items 1, 2, 3, and 4 to be removed from the register. And did you? Oh, done again. Did we update the 095? That we'll bring that on the next. So that's the recommendation. Yep.
Okay, so I would like to call for someone to move that the resolution be accepted to approve the removal of resolution 1, 2, 3, and 4 from the register. So would someone like to move that?
Oh, perfect.
Thank you, Craig, and a seconder. Thank you, Brendan. All in favour? Any against? Carried. Thank you, Mark. Okay, so there are public exclude. There are no reports. Moving on to yeah. I just have a question. Sorry. If there was any of us wanted to have a discussion about anything, that's done after the meeting's closed, isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay, great. Thank you. All right, so I would like to call on Craig. I'd like to call Craig for the closing words of wisdom, please.
I'm going to do the English version. By believing and trusting, by having faith and hope, by looking and searching, by listening and hearing, by working and striving together, by patience and perseverance, by all being done with compassion, we will succeed.
Thank you, Craig. Okay. Right, I would like to now officially declare that the meeting is closed at 4:44 on the 1st of December 2025. And thank you everyone for coming.